Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys had some rain last night, didn't we? We had some thunderstorms, pretty active. Those showers and thunder showers will appear off and on for the next couple of days. About a 40% chance of rain. 91 for your high for today. On this, the 4th of August, we say good morning to Cynthia Guerra. She's Executive Director, Monroe County Land Authority. Good morning to you, Cynthia.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. I hope you're also doing well as well.
Yes, we finally had a little bit of rain in my neighborhood up here in Key Largo yesterday, so blessed relief.
Yeah, indeed it is, and it is desperately needed. Certainly, you deal with land all the time, obviously, and hopefully some of the land that you oversee and have managed to acquire over the past number of years will be also benefiting from that rain. I'm sure it will. Let's talk about that. We talk about budgets. We talk about the end of the fiscal year. The county, of course, is part of that. So it's a good time to reflect on what we've accomplished this past year with you as the Executive Director of Monroe County Land Authority.
Yeah, we are just like the county and the other authorities that are planning their budgets for the fiscal year that starts October 1st. We're doing the same, and we've had our first preliminary budget presentation to our governing board, which is the Board of County Commissioners. We're planning for our next year and looking back at what we've done in the past year. And we're coming off of a very successful year. We've had some challenges. In that for most of the year, we lost our purchasing partner, the state of Florida, because of their own fiscal restraints, but it didn't seem to slow us down at all. And I'm looking back, very happy to report that we've made over $3.8 million in conservation purchases this year. So it's been an excellent year for the Land Authority.
Yeah, and Cynthia, let's recap again where the funds come from, because some people may think, it's taxpayer dollars and that, we're talking about budgets and constraints and all that kind of thing. Do mention once again as a recap, and for those who are not yet familiar, where do the funds come from for acquisition?
Yeah, the Land Authority was created as part of the county's growth management situation, and also because the state had designated the county as an area of critical state concern. And we are a governmental agency that's separate from the county, but we do not get our revenues from property taxes or ad valorem taxes. Mm-hmm. We are supported solely by tourist impact taxes, which are the bed taxes that are paid. A big chunk of our revenue comes from that. And then a little bit of our revenue comes from a surcharge that's paid when people enter a Monroe County State Park that's in unincorporated Monroe County. And the rest of our revenues come from our partnership with the state of Florida and miscellaneous sources. But we are not property tax or sales tax supported other than the tourist impacts tax, the bed tax that's imposed on beds in hotels. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Cynthia Guerra, she is Executive Director, Monroe County Land Authority on Good Morning Keys. And the authority does seek to assist in the implementation of land use plans, but also serving as an intermediary between landowners and governmental agencies that regulate land use. You also do help with the pursuit of affordable housing with Habitat for Humanity and the like.
Yeah, we have a lot of really great affordable housing projects that are in process right now, both in unincorporated Monroe County and also in the city of Key West. We helped with, for instance, the Bahama Lost project in Key West. We helped with the conversion of the assisted living facility at Point Siena to an independent affordable housing living facility. And there's some other great projects that have just broken ground. And yes, we do a lot of work with the local Habitat for Humanity chapters, all 3 chapters. Mm-hmm. Generally, the arrangement is that we'll go out and purchase the properties for the houses to be built on, and then we give those properties to the county, and the county leases them to Habitat for development of those affordable units. And that's been a longstanding partnership that has yielded a good number of units all up and down the Keys.
Okay, Cynthia Guerra, she is Executive Director of Monroe County Land Authority on Good Morning Keys. Are there, you had mentioned the past year and some of the accomplishments and the ability still to acquire land and pursue the mission of the Land Authority. Are there any particular projects that stand out in your mind as you look past on the past fiscal year as far as, development and progress?
Well, one of the things we're really focusing on right now is trying to retire some of those vacant parcels that are potentially buildable. We know now that the state of Florida has awarded some additional ROGO units to the county and to the municipalities. There are not enough units that are going to be awarded over the next 10 years to use up all of that vacant land. So we want to present another option to landowners that maybe don't want to pursue a building permit, but want to liquidate that asset. They can always get in touch with us and we can talk to them about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be pristine habitat for the Land Authority to purchase it.
Well, if memory serves, one of the lawsuits that Marathon was involved in does have some implications for taking cases, and the takings cases can be somewhat alleviated by use of the Land Authority, right?
Yeah, that was one of the intentions all along, was to give people another opportunity to utilize that asset, their land holdings, in a different way. So we present one avenue where if somebody is interested in selling, we can potentially negotiate and reach a favorable agreement and purchase the land.
Mm-hmm. And some of the land use for environmental protection, et cetera, is part of the purpose of the Land Authority. Do you have any idea what percentage of Land Authority, possessions and land is being used for environmental protection or maybe endangered species, that kind of thing?
Well, what I like to say is that every piece of property in the Keys that's purchased, whether or not it's got hammock on it or some other native habitat, is basically environmental in some regard. Every piece of land helps to protect our offshore waters and nearshore waters from pollution and runoff. It's interesting, when I gave my budget presentation last month to our board, we have spent over $60 million on conservation land, and we have spent over $60 million on affordable housing.
Oh, wow.
So it's been, and that's over many, many decades of Land Authority doing work. It's not like we did that last year, but it's been a really equitable effort across all of our objectives. And the other thing that was really notable to me was that we have really well represented the full geography of the Keys.
And speaking of that, Cynthia, I was speaking with the sheriff the other day about Monroe County and the portion that extends onto the mainland and into the Everglades and that kind of thing. It's amazing. I think he had mentioned there's about 15 residences out that way, but it still is part of Monroe County. Is there any involvement with the Land Authority in that kind of offshoot of our holdings for Monroe County?
No, there really isn't. Most of the land that's out there is already part of the National Preserve or the National Park. Mm-hmm. So if any of those owners were interested in selling, they would probably do best to reach out to one of the federal partners.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, apparently there's only about 15 of them, so there's not.
Yeah.
Each one can be considered carefully, I'm sure. Cynthia Guerra, she is the executive director of Monroe County Land Authority on Good Morning Keys. So we are starting to wrap up this fiscal year, getting set for yet another one, and I'm sure that there will be many more projects, many more on the horizon for the Land Authority. And it's really interesting. The Land Authority is yet another vehicle that is utilized to help kind of create the balance between progress and environmentalism and stewardship and the like. So it is a very helpful vehicle for doing that.
Yeah, I agree. It's intended to try to accomplish many of the goals that everybody shares in the Keys.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Cynthia, I appreciate you being here this morning, giving us an update. Is there anything, though, that we should highlight at this particular time?
No, I really appreciate your time, and let's hope we get a little bit more rain squeezed out this summer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's definitely we kind of came upon it pretty heavily over the past day or so, and we'll have some more of it. But as you said, it certainly is productive and welcomed. Thank you so much for being here, Cynthia, and for all that you do for our community. We will talk soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You do the same. Take care. Cynthia Guerra is with us. She's Executive Director, Monroe County Land Authority on Good Morning Keys. And as Cynthia did mention, we've got some rain. We've been getting some rain. Definitely needed. That'll keep mosquito control pretty busy, but it'll also help with our vegetation, and a number of our endangered species and the like will appreciate it as well. We're at 84 degrees right now, a couple of degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Chance of showers stands at about 40% through the day, 92 for your high. Tonight, that 40% chance of rain continues. And then tomorrow, midweek, 60% chance of rain. That still holds. They've been talking about that for a couple of days. Thunder shower mixed in. 50% chance of those occurring again tomorrow night. Thursday, 50% chance of rain. And Friday, just a chance of showers. Friday's chance down to 30%, 20% on Saturday. So we get less likelihood of showers as we get into the weekend. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 1025, the talk of the Keys. We'll return with more Good Morning Keys in just a moment.
Good morning, dear. Breakfast almost ready?
In a minute. So did you happen to call someone about spalling repair for the house?
You know what? I knew I forgot something yesterday.
Honey, you know how important spalling repair is, especially here in the Keys. If that spalling damage gets any worse...
Don't worry. I'll call Design Center in Marathon.
When?
Today.
How about now?
Okay, dear. Now.
Design Center, the most efficient spalling contractor in the Keys, providing the fastest results. With over 40 years combined experience in spalling repair and a member of the International Concrete Repair Institute, Design Center can handle the largest jobs to small structures. They also handle quite a number of condominium and county projects. Mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair. Visit DesignCenterFL.com or call 305-735-4042. Design Center, 6677 Overseas Highway Marathon. License number CGC 1523838. Remember, mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair from Design Center.
This is Ollie North for 4-Star Rentals. 4-Star Rentals is the most complete rental store in the Keys. They can provide rental equipment for every do-it-yourself project from your house to your yard. Bobcats, chippers, chainsaws, and tile saws, you name it, they have it. They also deliver throughout the Keys. That's 4-Star Rentals. Model marker 4.5 on Stock Island. These guys are really good. That's 4-Star Rentals. Go see them soon.
Check us out. What Colonel Ollie North says is absolutely true. We're locally owned and operated. We offer a fleet of delivery trucks for fast all-in-one delivery. 4-Star Rentals is the oldest tool rental and party store in the Florida Keys. We make it easy to get that job done for that party or very special event. We're located at mile marker 4.5 in Key West, or just call us and we'll come to you. 4-Star Rentals, 294-7171. That's 294-7171. Remember, Colonel Ollie North never lies.
Historic Pepe's Cafe in Key West, founded in 1909, still does things the old way. Diachronic, if you will. How about fresh squeezed juices? Think how good that margarita or Greyhound will taste. Blue Point oysters shucked to order because oysters work better that way. Fresh breads and outstanding specials in an eatery that opened the same year Ole Evinrude invented the first outboard motor. And get a jump on someone's birthday and check out our retail offerings for some great gift ideas. Pepe's Cafe, Old Town Key West, of course.
Get ready to laugh out loud with the Greenhouse Giggles. Brought to you by the Greenhouse Dispensaries of Florida. Monday through Friday, it's a hand-picked lineup of timeless TV comedy that guarantees smiles, chuckles, and full-on giggles. Each episode features legendary performers like Red Skelton, Bob Hope, The Three Stooges, Betty White, George Burns, Milton Berle, Dick Van Dyke, and so many more. So catch the giggles for Greenhouse Giggles, weekdays 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Sponsored by the Greenhouse, here on Keys Living TV.
If it's happening in the Keys, you will hear about it here. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 1025.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 1025, the talk of the Keys. And a reminder, it is National Night Out tonight. And just finding a couple of, where did that go? Okay. Well, I tried to bring up the story and it's not cooperating. But National Night Out will be occurring in 3 locations as of tonight. 5:30 is when it starts. There we go. In Key West at Truman Waterfront Park. And everything is moving slowly today. How about that? Well, we'll find it here eventually. But nonetheless, we have National Night Out. We will have all of the law enforcement representatives from different agencies joining us at National Night Out. And let's see. I'm going to hope that I can find it. Where is it? Okay. Hang on. Well, all right. There we go. Perfect. All right. Just in time. Food, refreshments, great chance to meet your neighbors, members of the sheriff's office, police department, firefighters as well at National Night Out. Sheriff's office, law enforcement, military, community partners. It happens in the upper, middle, and lower Keys. Key Largo will be at Key Largo Community Park starting at 5:30. The Almirada location event will be at Founders Park in Almirada. Marathon, Sheriff's Office Aviation Hangar and Florida Keys Marathon International Airport. Lower Keys and Key West, that'll be at Truman Waterfront Park in Key West. Goal of National Night Out is to bring the community together to discuss how you can all make neighborhoods cleaner, safer, and more secure. Community members will learn how to heighten their crime prevention awareness as well. And each event, depending on the area, will be hosting different agencies of law enforcement and the like. So keep that in mind. There's a number of different locales with different, hopefully they have different computers because mine just died on me. How about that? All right. Well, nonetheless, we will move on. It is going to be Medical Matters coming up with Nikki, the nurse practitioner. She's with the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa. It's 3134 Northside Drive in Key West. And we are going to be talking about a couple of different things with our good friend, Nikki, the nurse practitioner. And how about that? What a time for all the... apparently, we had a power outage last night in the lower Keys, and that did cause some problems for people as well. But, all right. Well, nonetheless, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, if we don't mind, because I am having some trouble getting my computer to respond. So, well, hang on just a moment. Oh, there's Nikki. How about it? I see Nikki looking around. I am fumbling and bumbling today. Throw me a lifeline, will you, Nikki, the nurse practitioner, please?
I can't. My glasses broke.
Is that what happened? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you know what? All of a sudden, I am trying to find information here that I wanted to talk about with National Night Out, which is awesome. So we talked about that, and I wanted to talk about the information you and I are going to be talking about here, and all of a sudden, your email disappeared. So I've got some gremlins here this morning. So I know I can rely on you, though, to get us back on track. Nikki, the nurse practitioner from the Key West Surgical Group Incorporated in Med Spa, 3134 Northside Drive, Key West. Exceptional care close to home. So, Nikki, how are you other than your glasses broke? I'm sorry to see that.
I'm good. I just found another pair. They're cheaters, but this is like the second pair I broke in a couple of days. I'm not sure what happened.
You need to buy the 2-pack, 3-pack, and all that.
The 3, I know.
Yeah, indeed. Why? Anyway, so I know we're going to talk about some things, but I don't know where your email just went. So you might need to kind of shoot it off to me again. But it's anyway. So we are going to talk about what we were continuing to talk about last week. So you'll help us with that.
I will. Yes,
Good.
I'm going to pull it up right here.
Wow.
You don't have it.
No, I had it and now I don't.
All right, hold on.
This is live radio, no doubt about it. That is so odd. It went to somewhere and it disappeared. Yes, literally all of a sudden my screen just went black. Everything
black.
And then, oh, you know what? It sent it to archives. There we go. That's really bizarre. So how can you, we're going to talk about, as soon as that gets out of the way, recap of part 2, becoming resistant. We're talking about
the neuromodulators, the toxins.
Toxins. Thank you. There we go. All right. Away we go. Let's talk about that because we are talking about aesthetics and, of course, Key West Surgical Group and Med Spa. Many advanced aesthetic techniques, including 3 advanced lasers. ZERF, our good friend ZERF, with RF micro needling as well. But we're also talking about toxins, and we had talked about the fact that some people may feel that they are resistant to some of these types of procedures. But let's talk about the word resistance as well.
So I hear this a lot, and you hear it among different people. Like, I think I'm becoming resistant to Botox. Remember, Botox is the brand of neuromodulator, but people will frequently use that interchangeably with all the different types of neurotoxins. So we were talking about a few different ones: Botox, Dysport, Jeuveau, Xeomin. There is also the Korean one, Latibo. Um, so when people say, "Oh, I got to get tox," or I need Botox, but then when you dive deeper into it, sometimes people will tell you that, "Oh, I have a preferred brand," and they do know the difference in the brands, but they'll tell you, "I was using Botox and it stopped working, so I switched to Dysport." And then they'll say, "Oh, I tried Dysport and I had to switch back to Botox because it wasn't working. I think I'm becoming resistant." So I think we touched base on this last week. Can you become resistant? Let's it creates a little confusion because the words resistant gets used a lot, but the truth is resistance when it comes to cosmetic neuromodulators is quite rare. What we're talking about is something called neutralizing antibodies. Sometimes the immune system recognizes the active neurotoxin as something foreign and creates antibodies against it. Those antibodies can attach to the neurotoxin before it even reaches the nerve, preventing it to work effectively. The good news is, again, this is very uncommon when we use Botox or the neuromodulators for aesthetic medicine, and that is because you're getting tiny, tiny doses of it. We're not using it for, bigger medical procedures. So most of the cases, published cases that they have done, patients receiving very high doses of Botox, again, for like neurological conditions, or I should say neuromodulators, like cervical dystonia or severe muscle spasticity, they are the ones that can sometimes have a resistance to the neuromodulator. However, cosmetic patients, they feel it, since the dose is so much lower, um that is not the case.
Yeah. So
So
if you're resistant to one, then are you resistant to all? Like if Botox stops working, should you just switch? What is that about?
this is where it gets a little tricky. Well, this is where it gets tricky when people say, I use Botox all the time and now it works, so I need to switch to Dysport or Xeomin. um there has to be a reason why you think it stops working, and we'll get into that in a minute. But if someone has developed an antibody to the botulinum toxin,
Yeah.
that means that you're going to have an antibody to all of them. So it's not going to matter whether you use Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, Jeuveau, or Daxxify, because they all contain botulinum toxin type A.
Okay.
So if you're resistant, if you're saying you're resistant, or you're thinking you're resistant, and the only thing you really could be resistant to, that if it's not working, is the botulinum toxin type A.
Okay. Wow.
So
This really gets very involved, I tell
it
you.
does, and I don't think people understand that. I Because Botox or neuromodulators, the toxins are cosmetic,
Mhm.
people don't look at them from like a science background. They just think they want to stay young.
Yeah, indeed. Well, but again, it gets back to the point where medical expertise is important to really understand this and understand what's best for the patient. That's where Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and MedSpot comes in with exceptional care close to home. Dr. Rhoda Smith has been providing that medical expertise and exceptional care for many years, and you, as Nikki, the nurse practitioner, apply that knowledge as well. So again, we're talking about the toxins, Botox, and the like in aesthetic care. So in some cases, then the Botox wears off faster in one person than in someone else. Is that a truism?
So it can, and there are reasons why. My friend gets Botox twice a year, but mine only lasts 2 to 3 months. That may be one of the number one things I hear, like, and it is, people, we always compare ourselves to others, right?
Right.
That's what, again, even with regular medicine, I use blood pressure medicine all the time. My buddy takes this blood pressure medicine, it controls his blood pressure. I want to try it. We try it. It doesn't work for that person. Every person is different, and the way your body metabolizes the medication is different. So some people can metabolize caffeine really quickly, while other people can't drink caffeine after noon. They'll, after 12 noon, they'll be up all day. Or, you have the person that can drink a pot of coffee all day and sleep like a rock at night. And somebody has a sip of caffeine at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they're up at 3 a.m. with a to-do list. So, no.
That's a it's a good analogy. It's true.
Yeah. So everybody's bodies responds differently to all medications, including neuromodulators. So we could talk about muscle strength. We are trying to relax the muscles. So if you have strong facial muscles, those muscles are going to constantly try to regain movement. They want to prove that they're stronger than you, stronger than the neurotoxin. So some people that have powerful frown muscles may notice that movement returns sooner than someone whose muscles are naturally weaker. It doesn't mean the treatment fails. It just simply reflects normal differences in everybody's anatomy.
Yep. So we're talking aesthetics with Nikki, nurse practitioner, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated, and Med Spa, 3134 Northside Drive in Key West. Online, keywestsurgicalgroup.com. So dosage also matters and whether the one is effective for one person or another.
That is correct. Another factor is dose. Using too little product may produce more beautiful natural movement, but the effect may not last as long. On the other hand, using too much product doesn't mean it necessarily you're going to get better results. It's not to eliminate every facial expression. The goal is to create a refreshed natural appearance while preserving movement that's appropriate for you. That's why treatment should always be individualized rather than the same number of units for every patient. And with that being said, if you do have stronger muscles, it may just mean that you need to come in, not that you need more units, that you need to come in more often.
Okay.
If you want to maintain, a certain effect.
Yeah. And even biology, like nerve function, that kind of thing, that can affect how people respond to toxins.
That is correct. So like we talked about earlier, and I think it was in the first segment, we talked about the nerve pathway. Sometimes your nerve tries to create a new pathway. So it's like, hey, you blocked this one, I'm going to go a different way.
Yeah.
So some people rebuild their nervous system, those connections more quickly in their nervous system. And that's normal biology. It's not because of something that somebody might have done. And it's not because maybe the injector did something wrong. It is your body's response to the neuromodulator being injected into it.
Okay. Exercise and lifestyle affects effectiveness too.
So this, you hear a lot of mixed feedback with this. I guess the research isn't completely settled, but there is some evidence. I know people that are elite athletes, like triathlon runners or lift a lot of heavy weights, they will express that they have a shorter duration of effect of the neuromodulator. And then, I see other people who exercise all the time, and then, their muscles are still, they're maintaining that every 3 to 6 months that they can come in for their tox. So one of the theories is that muscles that are used more frequently recover their nerve sooner. I mean, if you think what a muscle does, it builds strength by using it. That's what it is. So if you get the neuromodulator, but then you're needing those muscles, to strain, or when you exercise, it may wear off sooner.
Nikki, the nurse practitioner, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated, and Med Spa. We're talking aesthetics today with toxins, Botox, and the like. But many patients do notice after several years of regular treatment, their results seem to last longer. So why is that?
So if you do something more regularly, consistency, you know how we talk about consistency a lot and everything, your muscles will remain relaxed over time. They often become less active and less powerful. So again, thinking about wearing a cast after you break your arm, your muscle weakens. So that's the biggest thing. If you've ever had a cast, I did when I broke my leg when I was 10. I mean, even when they took the cast off, you can see the atrophy in one leg over the other because the muscle hadn't been working for 3 months. So neuromodulators don't paralyze the muscle permanently, but regular treatments can reduce repeated overactivity.
Okay. Well, we've been talking about this for a few weeks, Let's then talk about a couple of myths as we close out that topic. Botox is poison.
That's right. I just had this conversation with my husband. He goes, "Isn't it bad? Isn't it bad? Botox." I'm like, botulinum toxin is derived from a naturally occurring bacterium, but it is purified and it is used medically and cosmetically, and it is manufactured under strict quality standards, and it is administered in extremely small, controlled doses. So, like many medications, safety depends on the dose, the indication, and proper administration.
All right. Number two, the myth. I'll look frozen.
So it's like we talked about, some people want to look frozen. They
Right.
come in and say, I don't want my forehead to move. But if you do it correctly, you're not going to look frozen. Looking frozen obviously can mean too much product was injected. There was a poor injected technique, or not treating the facial anatomy correctly, because everybody's is different. So usually the best treatment is one that looks natural. However, again, you do have some people that want that look. So,
Mhm.
you gotta figure out how you feel about that when you when you start
Uh,
injecting.
well,
Um,
uh-huh. I was just going to say, so some people may be resistant to starting Botox because they think if they stop, the wrinkles will be worse than before. Is that true?
that is correct. And a lot of times people that have a good response, um, it will take away the appearance of their wrinkles. It also depends how deep their wrinkles were when they started getting Botox. But no, if you stop getting Botox, your wrinkles will not be worse. Your muscles are going to simply return to their normal activity and you continue the natural aging process. So stopping the treatment doesn't make you age faster.
Okay. How about this one? More units of Botox or toxins is always better.
No, because you need to have the right dose that's appropriate for you and your appropriate for your muscles, your facial anatomy, and your goals. Medicine isn't about using the most product. Again, when we control other things like diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol, we don't want to throw four medicines at you at once. So more isn't always better. It's finding where your sweet spot is.
Okay, Nikki, the nurse practitioner, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa. We are talking about neurotoxins, Botox, and the like in the use in aesthetic care. But there's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation out there as well. So we're trying to set the record straight. So, with everything we've been discussing over the past couple of weeks here, how should someone decide which product is right for them?
It's, determined through consultation. Social media is a big influence among people, and social media influencers will go on and they'll promote one brand that works for them, and it very well may be. You may get on social media and they talk about Botox and how not one other neuromodulator can work for them, or celebrity endorsements or what's trending online. But really, whatever's working for somebody else may not be the right path for you. So you need to have a consultation and understand all the different type of neuromodulators that are available.
Okay, so final takeaway. Let's talk about Botox first.
So as I said, Botox is a brand name, not the name of every neuromodulator, but we tend to use it interchangeably because I think it was the first one that was out. So we call every neuromodulator Botox. All FDA approved neuromodulators work by temporarily relaxing the muscles through the same basic mechanism, meaning that, you know, you're not, it's one's not better than the other per se.
Mhm.
The idea is that they all work the same. While there are differences in manufacturing formulation and onset duration, they're often smaller than marketing suggests. True antibody mediated resistance is rare in cosmetic patients, and most people who think they're resistant actually have another explanation for why their results have changed.
Okay, and then let's make the final, most important point of all.
The injector matters more than the label. Making sure you have somebody that's experienced and understands anatomy and muscle and balance and is not going to overtreat you when you meet them for the first time. Remember, I said sometimes we like to give all on the first date, but we really shouldn't.
Mhm.
So, when you go to a new injector, they don't know you, they want to get to know your anatomy before they just start pouring large doses of neuromodulators in your face.
Yeah, well, good advice. Absolutely. And certainly reach out to Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa should you have questions. Or better yet, just get a free consultation, no obligation whatsoever, but you will learn what could be the most appropriate treatment course for you, whether it is neuromodulators, neurotoxins, and the like, or whether it's one of their 3 very advanced laser techniques, or our friend Zerf and the microneedling. Zerf, love the name. So there's so many different advanced aesthetic techniques available to you at Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa, and it is all overseen by renowned Dr. Rhoda Smith and Nikki, the nurse practitioner. So that number to start that free consultation journey, 305-294-1041, keywestsurgicalgroup.com online. So how about that?
How about that? That sounds great.
Indeed. Well, I think that wraps up that series. A lot of great information, though. Anything else we should have mentioned at this particular time?
No, nothing that I could think of. If you, again, like you said, if you have any questions, you can give us a call.
That is great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for all of this information. We will look forward to seeing you again next week, Nikki.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Nikki, the nurse practitioner, with us, Key West Surgical Group Incorporated and Med Spa. Exceptional care close to home. Again, free consultation for aesthetic care by calling 305-294-1041, keywestsurgicalgroup.com online, and 3134 Northside Drive in Key West. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. We return with more Good Morning Keys in just a moment.
Are you frustrated by weight gain even though you constantly diet? Do you have low energy or always feel tired? It could be hormonal imbalance. Hormonal imbalances, especially as we age, can be the cause of depression, weight gain, mood swings, decreased libido, and many other chronic conditions. At Keys Med Spa, we have helped thousands of women and men regain their hormonal balance with BioT, bioidentical hormone optimization therapy, and the results are life-changing. Keys Med Spa BioT hormone therapy is safe, effective, painless, and affordable. And the big difference at Keys Med Spa, this is all overseen by renowned Dr. Peterson, who has had a medical practice in the Keys for over 27 years. Cool sculpting, Botox, skin treatments, BioT hormone therapy, and more. Dr. Peterson and his team are here to help you maintain your youthful glow and vitality. To see if BioT hormone therapy is right for you, call Keys Med Spa today at 305-587-9183.
If you're on vacation to relax and have fun, we have an app for that. The Greenhouse carries products that can help you reconnect with your inner child, dance with confidence, reduce stress, and we have others that'll help you relax with a good night's sleep.
Whether you're a cannabis connoisseur or just canna curious, our team of highly trained bud tenders are here to help you reach all your vacation goals.
Just dance your way into one of our many locations and share your goals with one of our highly trained bud tenders. All product recommendations come with a money-back guarantee, no medical card needed. You just have to be 21 or older.
I tried the Greenhouse Guarantee, 100% satisfaction or your money back, and I'm still smiling.
The Greenhouse. We spell it with 3 E's so that you can't say it without smiling. If smiling is your goal today, then type the word green with 3 E's into your browser and find the greenhouse that's closest to you.
Stop on by and say hi.
We're up and down the Florida Keys and other parts of South Florida.
Hey, Key West, Danny Hughes here from Two Friends. Really from Two Friends. So Maura and I were sitting at breakfast in the bar, listening to live music at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. She's about to enjoy some huevos rancheros and me shrimp and grits with fried oysters. Heart healthy. And Maura says, Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. It was perfect because we didn't move here because Key West is like a lot of other places. We moved here because it isn't like any other place on earth. So meet your friends or make your friends at Two Friends, 512 Front Street in Old Town Key West or twofriends.com.
The voice of Monroe County, yours. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Good Morning Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys, 4th of August. By the way, it's the second day of early voting in the county. We had 389 votes cast in early voting. Most of those were cast at the Key West office of the Supervisor of Elections, but there are various locations throughout the county available to you should you decide to to participate in early voting, which continues for the next couple of weeks as we get towards the primary. And actually, it's really more the general election for a number of different offices. I'm sure that Cory Schwisow is glad he's not running for public office this time around. Not that you wouldn't win, but that's also stressful. You've got enough stress in your life as the director of Monroe County Emergency Management as well. So we appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Cory, this morning, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. I appreciate you having it. And can you believe it? It's August already.
No, I cannot. Honestly, I know, this, I'm going to sound like a progressive commercial turning into my parents. My wife says it all the time, but it really does seem like it was just Christmas. It really does to me. So,
It does. But one good thing about August is that football season's right around the corner.
yes, indeed it is. Well, actually, and we're covering, the Florida State games here on Keys Talk as well. But, there were a lot of people with a dog in the fight, a lot of different angles there. Probably get into that at some. You did tell me okay. Who's your favorite?
Oh, I'm a diehard Nebraska fan.
That's
Born and
right.
raised Cornhusker.
I knew it was Big Ten in there somewhere or whatever. Yeah. So, so good for you. Well, go Cornhuskers. We'll see what kind of year they have. And we'll talk football at some point, but Penn State's coach, of course, went to Virginia Tech, and I had some ties to Penn State, whatever. So it can be an interesting year, but I'm hoping the Noles have a good year as well. So anyway, but nonetheless, go Huskers. There you go. I will appease you with that. So you might have a little time to watch some football, seeing as it's been relatively quiet. Hurricane, I hate to say it, hurricane season. However, that does not mean that emergency management has been complacent. You continue to be very active. In fact, today you've got meetings with Florida Keys Electric Co-op, always making sure that people are and organizations are at the ready.
Yeah, no, it's really important, and it's nice to have a little bit of a breather in the middle of hurricane season because we can take the time. I'm partnering with John Rizzo and the National Weather Service today, and we're going to be talking to the Florida Keys Electric Co-op, their team down here in Marathon and also up in Tavernier today, because that's a critical team. I mean, post storm to be able to go through our plan, their plan. How can we support each other so that we can evaluate our infrastructure and then systematically prioritize those projects and recover as quickly as you possibly can. So the Colorado State had updated their storm numbers earlier in July, and they decreased, and although they decreased down to 9 named storms, 4 of those could be hurricanes and 1 could be a major hurricane, but it really only takes 1 hurricane to make it a devastating season. So I want everybody to enjoy these nice calm waters that we've had over the last couple of weekends and get out there and enjoy what makes the Florida Keys so amazing, but also continue that conversation, continue practicing good preparation with your vehicles, your home, and your family.
Yeah. So, Cory, super El Nino, did I hear that correctly? Is there just definitely an El Nino year? Is there such a thing as super?
Yeah, they've been talking about super El Nino, and then also there's been some rumors about historic El Nino, and it's really been a game changer along with our Saharan dust that we've had over the early part of this season. But it's although it's keeping us very calm over here, the Pacific has seen a very active storm season. But I think you and I had talked about this previously. One of the things, yes, we're looking at right now what's happening in the Atlantic Basin, but what does an El Nino look like after hurricane season? And we need everybody just to understand that, for our I call them the upper 48 states, it could be a very wet, snowy winter for many of our families up north, but also bring a lot of a threat for some severe weather down here in the Florida Keys. So a warm El Nino summer usually follows with a very wet winter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do see that 2026 El Nino already present, forecast to become one of the strongest on record, 63% of chance of reaching super intensity by late 2026. And that does bode well for keeping hurricanes at bay. But again, it's things can always change at a moment's notice. And we'll continue to remain vigilant no matter what comes our way. John Rizzo, though, his name does come up, especially during hurricane season. And he is a very coveted individual because we look to him for direction of hurricanes and predictions and the like. But he's remaining active, even though it's not necessarily an active hurricane season. And in fact, apparently, we're going to have a Skywarn Storm Spotter course with John front and center, also hosted by Emergency Management. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so on August 15th from 10 a.m. to noon, here at the Marathon Monroe County Public Library, we're going to be John's going to be offering that Skywarn Storm Spotter training, and which is actually a certification. So he'll be talking mainly about safety in severe weather, but he'll also talk about thunderstorm development. What does that storm structure look like? How to identify potentially severe weather. So if you're out on the water and things are looking a little bit dark, you can take a look at some of those storms visually and say, hey, we need to take some protective actions here. But also how to report severe weather to our National Weather Service partners, and then just basic severe weather safety. So if it's open to the public, if anybody is interested, please reach out to Holly Winhoven. She is our Monroe County Emergency Management Mass Care Specialist, and you can reach her at 305-797-1154. And she will RSVP by the 14th, so Friday the 14th.
Well, indeed, and it is like you said, it is a bit of a luxury that you all are capitalizing upon with a slightly slower season to make sure that we are fully prepared. And again, in this case, even certifying National Weather Service storm spotters, and as you said, real world observations during severe weather events, whereby we can turn to these storm spotters as they can play an important role in public safety by providing timely real-world observations. So yet another resource that we're developing here. It is Cory Schwisow. He is the Director of Monroe County Emergency Management on Good Morning Keys. And as far as other preparations and the like, what else should we be aware of at this time, sir?
And we are already, our team is being very proactive this summer and really reaching out to our partners, down in the city of Key West and up and down all the Tyler, Marana and Key Largo, and taking a look at what events we have coming up. We have, Fantasy Fest coming up and boat races and New Year's. So we like to be part of that discussion and ask our partners, hey, what is it that you have gaps? What can we take a look at? And we've learned a lot from the FIFA World Cup. There's a lot of equipment still available that was used for protective barriers up there in Miami. So a lot of those resources are still readily available. So we're going to start moving some of those assets down here so that our partners here in the Florida Keys can use those to make sure all of our visitors and our residents can really enjoy every one of their events and feel safe.
Very good. And Cory, we've been talking about this for a few different weeks, but tonight will be National Night Out, and a lot of the agencies that you coordinate during an event will be on hand at 4 different locations throughout the Keys to help with just outreach and getting the public to know our first responders and emergency management and the like. It'll all be on hand in our neighborhoods here to promote cleaner, safer, more secure neighborhoods, community members learning how to heighten crime prevention awareness and the like. So I always want to make sure that we're mentioning National Night Out so we can have as many people aware and in attendance as possible.
Yeah, it's a great event, and hats off to the sheriff and his team for really spearheading this event. It's an incredible opportunity for our residents and our visitors to go really meet the men and women who are the tip of the spear to make sure we're safe. And I heard yesterday the sheriff highlighting, Monroe County and his team being recognized as I would say the best of the best. And I always I'll take any opportunity to brag on our team. We have some great professionals that work for us, and and we have probably the most challenging environment to do it in. And so it's really encouraging to see and hear about our partners' their success stories, and being recognized for their efforts.
Yeah, indeed. Cory Schwisow, he is the Director, Monroe County Emergency Management on Good Morning Keys. And yes, let's use this season, if it remains quiet, to make sure that we are all prepared and vigilant, even to the point of registering your pet for a pet shelter, should it become necessary as well. That's another member of the family that is sometimes overlooked in one's emergency preparedness plan.
Absolutely. Don't forget about the little furry friends and any other animals, and you can go on and register them now, and that way it's one less thing to worry about when things get a little bit of chaotic. So I really appreciate continuing to push that message.
Yes, sir. MonroeCounty-FL.gov, and go to emergency management. You can find all of the resources available to you and your family, especially in the event of an emergency or an event. But you can sign up for Alert Monroe as well. And we always try to keep people informed up to the moment here on Keys Talk. But again, we all work together to make sure that we are prepared and can make it through any eventuality. So we appreciate your directorship, your leadership, and your service to our country and our county, Cory. I know you've got a meeting to get to, though, so we should let you do that.
All right. Thank you for the time, and I hope everybody enjoys their, Tuesday. Happy August, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir, very much. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye now. Cory Schwisow, he is the director of Monroe County Emergency Management on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We are getting ready for Glenn Beck coming your way in mere moments. And of course, there are all kinds of world events that we'll be keeping an eye on. And with that, we will bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Local, state, national news comes your way at least every half hour with updates there. Weather around the clock as well. Glenn Beck, as mentioned, on the way. Also, Clay and Buck at noon. Sean Hannity at 3 o'clock. Florida's Voice at 5 o'clock. Breaking news, as mentioned, as soon as it happens. And AUC with Dr. B coming your way Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Thanks for listening.